sports mtaani tunawasuka maneno michezo from the eye of the people. Henry back at it again. Leo tuna show ingine noma sana. Yes, we are talking about the Olympics Paris 2024. Yeah, we're in the second week of the Olympics. Remember, it began on the 24th. So far, Kenya, we are always latecomers when it comes to this event. By default, it's not because we want it, but it's the way the tournaments and these events are normally structured. Athletics normally comes at the tail end or at the core of the event. In Paris 2024, nothing is different. We've had Kenyan performance in rugby sevens and volleyball, and also we've had a unique performance once in a lifetime event in a sport known as fencing. Hata mimi sikuwahi jua fencing ni nini, but because of this beautiful lady Alexandria Ndolo, Kenya had an opportune moment to witness the introduction of fencing and putting Kenya in the map for the first time in this elite sport. She performed very well and lost narrowly to the Ukrainian by 2 points, and that was epic. Congratulations, Alexandria, and these are the kind of people Kenyan sports need to introduce Kenyans to new pathways and new events that we can reap gold. In future, let's hope ata ajua ama draft ziteko Olympics. Kuna unique sports kama zile Masai kuruka, hero. Those are events hata sisi tunataka to introduce Olympics, because we see some unique events that people are reaping golds, silver and bronze every day, events that are not Africans. Let's use the Olympic Committee of Kenya and Africa to petition, lobby, so that these unique games and events that are participated in the African continent are also introduced in the Olympics. But we salute you, Ndolo. That was a brave performance, and we look forward for you to inspire a great number of young people in the African continent. You will won this time. Maybe we will be 5 and grow fencing in Kenya, if not in Africa. Let's get into it. So far, today we want to zoom and focus on volleyball. And the unique reason why we're doing this is because the Malkia Strikers are the best women volleyball team in Africa. They've dominated for more than a decade. They're the biggest team in Africa, like I said. The Malkia Strikers are so dominant that they've participated in 10 World Championships and 4 Olympic Games. The closest that comes to the Malkia Strikers is the Cameroonian, who've represented Africa in 5 World Championships. But their dominance cannot be compared by these beautiful women from Kenya. They've shown when it comes to the regional championship, that is the club championship, that they're fierce. They've shown when it comes to the African tournaments, the national tournaments, they're unstoppable. They've dominated, beaten everybody repeatedly, year in, year out. Unfortunately for the Malkia Strikers, when it comes to the big stage facing the world, they've crumbled. It has always been a crush. What's happening to the Malkia Strikers? What's the problem? If you're watching this for the first time, kindly subscribe, like, and share so that every time we bring or we release a new video, you are notified. Yes, Sports Mtaani, remember we said on this channel we highlight anything good that's happening in the motherland. And anybody who's letting sports down, we throw them under the bus. Yeah, the Malkia Strikers. What's happening? We cannot be going to international tournaments year in, year out, and the results are the same. These beautiful women show dedication every time they put on the Kenya uniform to perform. Honestly, if you ask me, they're so passionate about the game that you can never fault them about any loss that comes their way. Reason being, the standard has proved to be totally different and unmatched when they're playing European, South American, or Asian competition. So where is the problem? Or what is lacking in the African continent, if not the Kenyan game, that we can never seem to match or build upon? It's so confusing, especially even to the team itself and to the public. Remember, Kenya has gone to 4 different Olympics. They were in Sydney in 2000. Then we also qualified, or Kenya qualified, for Athens in 2004. In 2020, they participated in Tokyo and now in Paris. The results seem to be the same, save for Sydney in 2000, where they were grouped with Brazil, Australia, Croatia. In that maiden event at the Olympics, they were able to win 2 sets against Australia and Croatia. So one thing to note, that for all the 4 appearances at the Olympics, Kenya has always been grouped with Brazil. And we all know Brazil as a dominant force when it comes to women's volleyball. As we are approaching these Olympics in Paris, they were the #1 ranked volleyball team. So Kenya has faced this dominant force in volleyball in all her appearances at the Olympics. In 3 occasions, Kenya has been grouped with Japan. And Japan, we also know, coming into these Olympics in Paris, they're the 7th ranked nation. So how does Kenya fare compared to her competition? Coming into this Olympics, Kenya was ranked 20th in the world. The closest to Kenya in the group of teams that qualified for Paris 2024 is Dominican Republic, which is ranked number 11. Kenya is 9 places below, meaning there are 9 teams between Kenya and all the teams that are participating in Paris 2024. Remember, Kenya is grouped with Brazil, Poland, which is ranked number 4 in the world, Japan ranked 7, and Kenya ranked 20th. If ranking says anything about performance, do you expect Kenya to do even better? If you ask me, yes, because motivation is the mother of all great performance. Even David in the Bible, we are told and we know, was able to knock out the giant Goliath because of belief, passion. So anything is possible. And in sports, everything is possible. We saw the way Southern Sudan, the youngest nation in the world, performed in basketball. These are a group of great, passionate African sportsmen who went to the basketball court against the United States and left it all. They lost today, but passionately, what a performance. We saw how they played in their first game against Puerto Rico. They won the first maiden tournament. And that's how passion and dedication. This is a team that doesn't have an indoor basketball court in the entire nation. And they played the Olympics. And in their maiden game, they won. and they fought the US, the most dominant team in basketball, to the end. So when you say Kenya volleyball women can do it, yes, they can do it, and we believe they can. In all the 4 appearances Kenya has participated at the Olympics, we've tailed. We finished 12th, and in this World Cup, it seems it's gonna be the same. So, what do you think is the problem? Or what do you think is a solution so that next time we play an international match, it doesn't have to be the World Cup, it doesn't have to be the World tournament, it doesn't have to be the Olympics, so that next time when we participate, we put our foot forward, our best foot forward, and we cause an upset. If not winning a set, yeah, we win 2 sets. If not winning 2 sets, we win the tournament. You all saw the game between USA and Serbia. Wow, what a beautiful game of volleyball. It was fought to the end. They had to go for a final 5th set, and the US was able to win. And that is how competitive and beautiful sports is. So how can Kenya reach that level? What is needed to remedy so that we never flag girls again when it comes to volleyball? What do we need to do? What do we need to do for Kenyan volleyball to grow? We can never go to a 5th World Championship or Olympics and we finish 12th, beaten with the same teams we play every 2 or 4 years. What do we need to do? You tell me, what do we need to do? In my perspective, and this is something that I hold dear, I think the first thing that Kenya need to do to remedy the situation, we can never have a team that when we go out for international event outside the African continent, we anticipate the same result. They normally say doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result is insanity. And I believe that's insanity. Example, at the Olympics, if we knew Kenya was going to be beaten in all these matches, why not empower? Get the youngest team in the country, selecting the high school students in the Olympic year to represent Kenya. Because yeah, we already know the results, how it's gonna be. So why not empower those young girls who in high school level are playing so well? Let them get the experience, the exposure. That is growth. Why not do that as a solution if we know the results are gonna be the same? So to me, that's one solution that we can put forward. Like we say, yes, let Kenya qualify in the international events like volleyball. When we qualify, the team that's representing Kenya in the next 5 years is going to be high school students. Because we have a tournament that nurtures young boys and girls in Kenya at the age of under 18 or 19. And these young girls and boys, if given that exposure and experience, man, we are molding a generation that's gonna be great in 5 years. So that is just my perspective. I'm not saying it can be tweaked, because remember, we already know the results. And if at all we are going for a tournament that we're gonna lose, why not lose with young people who are given an opportunity to grow mentally, economically, and in terms of the skill set when it comes to sports. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm right. 2, I think the coaching problem in the Kenyan volleyball is something that needs to be looked at. I'm not saying the coaches we have are not good. No. I'm not saying Jafet Munala has failed. No. I'm not saying Paul Bitok is not a good coach. No. What I'm saying is we are not going back, just like Kamala says it. There's no need to go back. Let's move forward. We've tested, we've tried the local coaches in all these events, but it's not working. So why not use an example, a copy of what other European, South American, Asian volleyball champions are using so that we can grow the sport? We are all proud about our heritage, but at the same time, we should be highlighted with the realities that are happening out in the world. If it has failed, you have to try a new thing. And in this one, I believe that we've tried the Kenyan coaches, and this is where it has got us. So it's time to flip a page so that we can get those European, Asian, South American coaches that have steered Brazil, the USA, Poland, name all those world champions to where they are. If it's not the coach, the system they're using, it might be expensive, but at the long run, it will bear some fruits. So that is what I'm talking about. Remember, the Federation of International Volleyball had an 88 million Kenyan shilling coaches package to improve coaching for the Kenya team. We all know what happened about this. It's called the Women Empowerment, the Volleyball Empowerment Program. 88 million Kenyan shillings. They employed 6 coaches from Brazil and a team manager, and they were being paid from 2020 to help prepare the Kenya volleyball national team for the Olympics. But just like the saying goes, in Kenya, man, kama kuna story ya pesa, and this is in all federations, man, things go south. I'm not claiming anybody was trying to misappropriate. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, from what I know, in Kenya, when there's big money that is channeled in sports, there has to be complication between the federation and whoever is bringing this money, or there has to be a fight that always make the game itself loses from the benefit. We saw this in Kenya when we were talking about the Kenya Football Federation. Yeah, there's a lot of money that FIFA, the goal project, there's a lot of money that FIFA pumps into the country. When you ask about what this money does, nobody can pinpoint to tell you. Same as volleyball, the 88 million brought, we all know why it was cancelled, because there was a dispute between the federation and the volleyball. They wanted to include the same coaching staff in Kenya to be incorporated, but the volleyball, international volleyball said no, we have 6 people that we want to help grow Kenyan national volleyball team. We have a head coach, an assistant, we have a conditioning coach, we have a statistician, we have a physiotherapist. So all these 6 individuals were to be paid by the Federation of International Volleyball to mold this team to the Olympics. But here we are, somewhere midway, it collapsed because of this complication or dispute, if you can say it. The results are the same. Pesa si yako, kwa nini unapigania? They've said these are the people we want. We are paying them. Dona akisema, hey, this is what I want and I'm paying for your benefit, why do you complicate? Pesa si yako. So I think that's another thing that we need to rectify. Lastly, we know how dominant Kenya Pipeline, the prisons, we all know how KCB, volleyball teams, we all know how these Kenyan volleyball teams are so dedicated, are passionate, and they churn good players every year. How competitive the Kenyan Volleyball League is, we know, and that's why all these Kenyan teams dominate the African continent in the club championship. And when it comes to the national team, wow. And that is because or courtesy of the seriousness that the Kenya Volleyball Association has put on the league. But it's not enough. For me, I think it's not enough. The federation needs to be more aggressive, more dedicated, more passionate, and more hungry so that we can move forward. And I'll just give an example. As dominant as Kenyan volleyball is, when you look at participation in the country, nobody hardly notices when volleyball is being played. The league is good, the teams are competitive, yes, but amongst themselves. But in the public domain, it's hardly even marketed when there's a volleyball tournament. The Kenya Secondary School Sports Association and the Ministry of Sports have done quite a commendable job to market or to try and nurture volleyball talent. And they have an annual tournament that all primary schools and secondary schools participate competitively every year. If we want to grow volleyball and to get a different results, it is time we get to the roots. Let's go to the villages. Let's go up country. To Ushago, that's where volleyball is. Create tournaments every 2 months. Create a league that is visible in the counties. Create a tournament that every 2 months it's marketed. We play in Isiolo. We play in Kilifi. Let volleyball be played in Kitale, in Busia. Let volleyball be played in Meru, Muranga. Let's publicize this. Let's have a stiff competition. We all know how dominant volleyball is, or the Kenyan volleyball is. Why not create an annual circuit of volleyball tournament, played, marketed, sponsored? Yes, let's get people. We know there are people who can sponsor successful teams like the Kenyan women or men volleyball. Let's have this tournament played around the country so that we can grow talent. There's a gap between those Ministry of Education primary and secondary school tournament and playing for this competitive Kenyan volleyball clubs. There's a lot of talent that is lost in between. So if we are to grow volleyball and if we are to have a different results, these are some of the key things that I believe needs to be done. That's just my view. I'm Henry, and if you're not, kesho tunaanza athletics. Yes, we are here. This is Henry, and I'm out.